and give it a heartbeat. Got it? Got it?
Got it.
Got it. Sure.
So are you ready for tomorrow's dinner? Ready as I'll ever be. Think we've done all better. Yes. We're going with that. She's not 100%. But she'll show up and be there. She was here today, and she can now go home and rest. And she actually did go to the water department too, but she called before she left. Just to like take my temperature and make sure I was okay. I'm like, yeah, I'm 30, all right. We're just gonna have her switch off with Nancy. So that she can sit for a little while and take a little bit of a break, get off her feet.
And then it's a very fast, or suddenly, we know. How 3/4, I would say 3/4 of those nights. And
Is that the town?
how many pages? That's the one that
Right.
those.
Don't get too worried.
Hey, it's me we're talking about here.
I know, I'm giving you fair warning.
They're all- I think-
No, they're not. They're not. Like the town,
I don't know.
You're part of our party.
but in that building, not the town.
Oh, Mark.
Oh.
So those I'm gonna bring it up. They're not, I don't think they're, no, I don't think they're part of the.
No.
Oh, that's, I guess that's what I
Yeah,
heard. It's not-
no, they're not part of the.
So we own them, we have to own that property.
But I-
Not that,
Yeah.
not the town, for sure.
Because I was shocked, so I would say at least 3/4 of, no, but it's like at least 3/4 of them.
That's what it's saying.
Bring them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, it's 6:30, we're calling the meeting to order.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next one, Sunny is absent. We're going to go right to public hearings for the Village Pizzeria liquor license.
Yeah, just to tee it up for you, so obviously a very well-established business in town. And so as a part of your ancillary paperwork there, you have their annual application in front of you. And as I was explaining, we really don't need to have, because it's been more than 5 years and there's been no issues, but by the time I get done saying all that, the public hearing's usually over with, so might as well just have the public hearing and let it. In case anybody has anything to say.
We have anyone online or in the audience who has approval to speak on the Village Pizzeria, bring their liquor license to Windmill. Okay, we'll close the public hearing then. we can move right to ordinances, resolves, policies, and licenses. And we can Village Pizzeria liquor license renewal.
I make a motion that we accept the application and remove the license for the Village Pizzeria.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you. Just one, okay, we're gonna have you sign.
Okay.
We all need to sign or just sign?
Yeah, no, all of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna do appointments. Rebecca Boynton, Planning Board. First alternative. So we
Yeah,
have
so-
enough members.
Yeah, so in the last month, we received this application from Rebecca to join the planning board. I haven't spoken to her personally. We just accepted the application to bring it to you. Currently, there are 5 serving active members on the planning board. And based on the committee list that I have, it looks like there are 2 alternate slots. So she would be, if you vote her in, she would become the first alternate, which would give her voting rights in case anybody didn't show to any particular meeting. She'd be elevated to voting rights for that particular night.
I talked to Shannon Snowman. Shannon Snowman called me. She comes highly recommended by the vice chair of the planning board. And I've asked around town and she has a good reputation. She wants to be involved with the town. And she thought this was a good way since the board needed it. She looked and saw the board needed a body.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Uh,
Or do you have any comments or concerns?
Her occupation, lifeguard instructor, and what's it LLB?
I don't know her. I'd like to, I'd like to hear from her, but I mean, if she wants to
I don't know her at all.
volunteer.
So we were gabbing before the meeting actually began. You know, if you want to, as a council, establish a policy moving forward, it can be informal, just let me know. If you, on all applications, would like for the applicant to be here at the meeting that they're being considered, we will make every effort to do that moving forward. We've talked a little bit about it, but we haven't really, so in this particular case, I just received the application, just brought it to you here tonight. If you would like to see her, you can always table the application, or you can take action this evening.
When is your next planning board meeting?
There is one till December.
I guess planning board is a pretty important position, and, you know, it would sometimes be nice to see a face that goes along with the application. That's just my personal opinion.
So when's ours is the first week in December, yours is the planning board usually like third,
They
right?
know they
It's also, planning board's a real important position and, you know. I guess I'd just like to see a face with the application. And, you know,
And she's not here of her own fault. She's not
No.
here because Mr. Hodgkins didn't invite her to be here.
No,
She didn't
I-
be here.
that's not a problem. I understand that. And I also think it's great that somebody wants to be on a board. But it would also be nice if she knew the council people. So, you know, that's just my,
I would entertain a motion and then if we decide to move forward, maybe we could ask her to come to the council meeting. So we could meet her before our first planning board, if that's how it went. Because we didn't invite her, so it's not,
yeah,
because she didn't know to be there.
that's.
But I also don't want someone who's willing to volunteer to work with us.
I make a motion, we accept Rebecca Boyd, the planning board as the first alternate.
I'll second that. Now we should have a discussion.
Discussion, yeah. Further discussion, I would say if we could invite her, if we decide to go forward, if we could invite her to,
We definitely will.
just to meet her. So we. and
I
she
mean, I
can
think
meet
the
us.
good thing is she's going to be an alternate, right? So it's not like she's on a voting member immediately. It's only if they can't make their quorum or make their. Right,
If one
Yeah.
of the five is
Right.
not there, then she would be
Right.
elevated for that
Right.
particular evening.
and if she can't make it, then the second, if we had one with them.
Yeah.
So not only is she volunteering, but she's volunteering possibly to sit there for no reason. Which, and she understands that, and she will still want to do it, so I think we need to take advantage.
Okay, well, all those in favor?
Thank you. And either I or Ryan will reach out to Rebecca and invite her to your December council meeting,
Thank you.
just to say hi.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
And so let's just put a cap on this. So moving forward, would it be the wish of the council for me to, when I receive an application, to make sure that that person is invited to the next council meeting?
I
think
think
that would be
general, I think
preferred.
it's just good.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they can't make it, they can't make it, but it'd be really good. if we could-
Yeah, we can at least invite them.
Right.
right?
And sometimes we know them because they've been involved in things, so it's different, but we just,
And maybe we can move them up to the top of the list so they aren't waiting for
Yeah.
us to do our other business.
Yeah, depending upon the evening,
Right.
because the public hearings will tend to come first, but
That's
Well,
We'll get
because
them
that's
in.
what happened with Mr. Ouellette from Daddy-O's. He had to be up 2 o'clock in the morning, and I felt so bad because he came and he sat, and we did an executive session and all kinds of stuff. And it just got to a point where he had to leave in order to be able to get some sleep, to be able to get up and do his business at 2 in the morning.
and hence, we no longer have that under technically new business. We have it under appointments up at the top of the schedule.
okay, moving forward, general reports. The meeting minutes from October 3rd, 2022. I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from October 3rd, 2022 as written.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Department reports as submitted.
I make a motion. Wow, all three of us. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we accept the department reports as submitted.
Second that.
Any discussion?
Yes. Thank you for the rec department.
Yeah, nice, huh?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, that was very nice. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
appreciated.
Now,
That will help.
that information that you will be receiving is above and beyond the dollars that the town has donated. This is, you're seeing their fundraising and you're seeing their expenses through their fundraising
Right.
to make the programs roll. Okay,
Right.
It is appreciated.
good.
Thank you.
I make a motion, oh.
We just,
All those in favor?
Thank you.
I make a motion that we accept the Mechanic Falls Town Council workshop minutes of October 17th, 2022.
I thought you,
I don't see any minutes.
so
Oh,
you accepted the minutes before. the
Oh, I
department
was-
report.
She only did for.
I only
October
said,
3rd.
I only said this.
Oh, okay.
Because, yeah, I.
All right, my
I-
apologies.
So, yeah, so. Second that?
I didn't, but I will.
Oh,
I seconded everything.
okay, so,
Yes, I second. that.
okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Yes, I only said October 31st, that's what she. Okay, we'll open it to the public. 3 minutes, if you just step up to the microphone and turn it on, or if you're online, just raise your hand. You have 3 minutes, just state your name and your address.
Hello. Do you hear me? This didn't light up or anything.
You didn't write out that, you didn't write it.
Okay, anyways, my name is Jessica Smith. I live at 13 Perkins Road here in Mechanic Falls. I am a member of the R216 school board representing our town. And I'm here tonight to just mention that our superintendent has given notice he's retiring at the end of this school year. So currently we have a search committee established and we are soliciting feedback from the community on what they'd like to see from a new superintendent. So the survey, I saw a link, thank you. I saw a link on the town website, so thank you for putting that there, just so we have greater access to people in town. If you haven't done so already, please yourselves fill out the survey. It has 3 questions. It's pretty straightforward. The survey is due by the 15th, and the search committee meets again on the 16th to review the results and then move forward.
Who's on the search committee?
There are 6 people from the school board, 2 from each town. So Mary and myself from our town. And then the assistant superintendent is on the search committee. And there'll be additional involvement going forward as we establish a stakeholder group.
Does the assistant superintendent have any desire to move up? That's been voiced.
We advertised the position internally first and did not receive any applicants. So now we're in the phase of advertising externally.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's nothing else, we'll close comments from the public. And move on to council discussion topics.
So, I happened to eat a pizzeria on Saturday night, and when I came out, I took a whole bunch of pictures because I did not realize how many of those lights in the parking lot were not working. And I would say almost 3/4 of them were not working. Maybe that's a little high, but it was a vast number of those fancy looking lights that were not on. It was certainly dark. I don't know if you noticed I probably,
I haven't, but.
like, I didn't know if that's a trouble spot area. I don't see that like it being a high trouble area or anything, but I was just kind of shocked because I don't actually get out at night a lot other than the meetings like this. So like, I don't end up coming out of there, but I happen to be out late. I took my daughter out to supper and when I came out, I was like, whoa, but it's getting dark a little bit early.
So it should be noted that it's not the new LED light.
Not the new LED light.
The ones in the parking.
It's the parking lot stand,
Oh,
they're the
yes.
fancy looking lights, and I'm assuming those are all our lights, I just don't know. Like, I didn't know if there's like, maybe at first I was like, cause there was a couple that were flickering, but there was a vast amount that were not even lit up at all. And there was probably, I don't know, there's a lot of lights there, and I couldn't, like, it was dark, so it's not like I could sit there and count every lamp station, but I would guess there was at least 10 that were out.
Okay,
It was a significant amount.
so,
I don't even know what the recourse is. I just was kind of, I was like, oh, look at that.
yeah, obviously, I didn't know. We did not include those parking lot lights
Right.
as a part of the LED project.
Right,
Whether I can back up and have a, a second PO thing, if you guys want to go that route.
It's-
I'll look at some options, but because they're fancy,
yeah,
you know,
I don't
know
even
what that
know,
means.
like,
you know?
I don't even know, maybe they are already LED. I don't even know. I don't think so.
I would doubt that,
I don't think that they,
Well, right, because they were put in
yeah,
back when.
yeah, like 20 years ago.
20 years.
I'm guessing. and I have no idea how long they've been out. I just happened,
So I'll start with Scott, because, I would imagine somewhere over the last 20 years.
well,
Some
the
of
other
them might
thing
have
is,
been
I was
replaced.
wondering, like, CMP probably, there's no meter involved, so they're charging us the electricity on those when
Yeah.
they're not even working.
I'll do some homework.
Yeah.
Okay,
Again, not, it is what it is. I just was kind of shocked when I came on.
And then I have two. The planning board would like to have a workshop with council in regards to LD 2003. They would like to be before the tide and not after the tide, the way they've done with marijuana and solar, to get some input from us as to what, if we understand it, and what our thoughts and potential desires or concerns are. And then the other thing I have is, I would like to know exactly what our development commission is doing. I noticed that the general dollar that had talked to Corinne Lowe back when she was town manager is now been built over in Poland. And when I inquired as to how it got there, I was told that they were wooed by the Poland Development Commission. So I'd like to know what our commission's doing to woo businesses into town. The other question I have is, back when Mr. Collins was our CEO, our planning board wanted to better advertise our town, and we have very little signage. We went and we had a contest that took place over at the school system. A design was picked. And that child got the money, and we were supposed to have welcome to Mechanic Falls kind of sign at all of the entrance points, and it never happened. You and I talked about it. We figured out which one it was, because you happen to have it and not know what it was. I would like for us to do what we had talked about doing, and it's been, 4 years or 5 years now. I would really like to see our town border more represented and welcoming to business and saying, hey, here we are, we're open for business. So those are my two topics.
Anyone have further discussion? I'm thinking that the Dollar General's usually go near Family Dollar stuff, right?
Not necessarily.
No. I wasn't aware that they were considering here. And how often does our development committee meet? Are you on?
They meet quarterly.
Every three,
Okay.
quarterly.
And I attended one meeting maybe 6 months ago, so somewhere in the last 3 to 6 months.
From what I was told from AvCog, they're not active. They've got an account that AvCog oversees that has one room currently out that AvCog does the servicing for. But we don't have a development commission that's out there trying to bring in business.
How many people are on the committee?
I'd have to go get the committee list.
Yeah.
But
But
Mr.
that's fine.
Baird is the chair of the committee. And there are, I think, 4 or 5 other folks on that committee.
So I would like to know what we can do to encourage them to be more active for our town's benefit. Because Poland is really active and they're bringing in a lot of different things, and they're on 26 on their side.
So what do you,
They all have to go through the planning board.
what do you suggest that we do?
Well, I would like to see them become active and maybe move some of these clients in. As, to be honest, I think there may come a point where we are going to have to be willing to maybe consider doing a tip. A
So-
tax incentive.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Not to interrupt, but so Janice just gave me the list. Currently on the Development Commission is Michael Baird, Stuart Davis, Brenda Coleman, and Tim Dean. And that one other gentleman has shown a little interest. I don't know where his application is concerning the Development Commission. I think Mr. Baird is going to have a conversation with the gentleman. And quite honestly, I'm a little fuzzy as to where that sits, but that's the current lineup of folks on the commission.
So what is the council's role in that anyway?
Wonderful question. So as the council, you are the head of all, right? And so any committee of a part of the town, you, the committees are answerable to you as a council. Not to you as individuals, but to you as a council. So if there's interest in the council on wanting to know more, I think probably the proper thing to do would be to have them invited to an upcoming council meeting and give you folks an updated report as to what it is they are doing and what they feel that their role has been and should be moving forward. And you can see if that agrees or disagrees with the council's wishes, and then take actions from there.
I haven't met with them, we haven't had any interaction with them, so maybe that's what we,
Yeah, so if you want, I can reach out to Mr. Baird and see if they'd be willing to be here for your December meeting or your January meeting or whatever you wish.
do we know when their meetings are? Like when, I know it's quarterly, but do we know when their next meeting is?
I don't,
No. Well, I'm wanting to coordinate, but it's also November and then December is we get fewer days to.
so I'll reach out to Mr. Baird and I'll have a conversation.
I mean, what
And,
does everyone else think? Would you like to give them the development committee?
I think so, but I'm wondering if it would be a good. I mean, I see on here that we're talking about possibly having another. In this workshop. And if that was the case, maybe that would be a good, I mean, if we're not, I mean, we've talked over and over about the fact that we really like to see. Taxes stabilized in the town and businesses brought in to help do that. I think this is a pretty high important thing. So I don't know, I don't know. Cause a workshop would be a little more or less formal.
Okay,
But at a workshop, we can't vote on anything.
We can't vote, what are we gonna vote? We can't say, do your job better, like, we're not gonna vote that they're gonna do something. We're just gonna talk to them.
Well, I think it's discussion, I think.
We're gonna have a discussion, we're gonna find out what they are doing and what we would like, and then we can discuss what we'd like to do. Right? I mean, there's nothing really to vote on per se.
yeah, so you can either invite them to your December meeting or your upcoming workshop,
Right?
whatever your pleasure.
I mean, I don't really care. I just know that these meetings tend to be pretty good.
Yeah, that's why I think.
I was
workshop-
thinking a
A workshop
workshop or
would be
a special
discussion.
meeting, because personally, to really get anything done, you're gonna need more than a meeting tonight.
But I also think in a workshop, we've been talking about a lot of things that
I
we
know.
want to do.
I know.
But I'm thinking that a workshop would be a good discussion time, and maybe they have some ideas, because we're talking about like,
Right.
what might we do with this municipal building and
Right, well, I think it'd be informal.
Yeah.
Right,
less informal, more discussion.
Okay,
So if you would just reach out, and maybe get, and then maybe it's after the holiday.
Well, these-
yeah, I think it probably will be realistic.
okay, after the holidays,
Yeah.
okay, but I'll reach out in somewhere in the next couple of weeks and have a discussion. I'll invite Mike in and we'll have a discussion. Okay,
Yeah, and just say we want to have discussions. That, something like that sounds like.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I counted how many businesses from McDonald's that way have gone up and I've also talked to individuals and said, well, the development commission's doing that like right now, this week or next week. Their development commission's down at Cindy's dockside having a special come meet your business within your community after hours.
Moving up.
Oh, the joint workshop with the council and the planning board. They would really like to have one.
So is that something, that's something maybe we can do before council meeting, like maybe earlier?
Done it in the past.
Remember how we came in like at 5:30 or something, like to have that meeting with them, and then they could leave for hours?
Works for me.
I'm sorry, I completely slipped my mind. What is it that they wanted to discuss?
They want to discuss LD 2003 and I can't remember the other thing. Oh, something to do with solar. That's what Shannon had said.
Okay, so is it too,
That lovely housing thing that was dropped on.
is it too soon to invite them to maybe come before our December 5th meeting?
so,
I don't know, I'd have to reach out. to them.
Or does it need to be that?
there's probably going to be front loading on your December agenda with other items,
Okay,
for the council to decide. But, so if you want to hold some sort of joint meeting with the, planning board and, I would say, honestly, it would probably be best if it was a special night or sometime after the holidays.
Okay.
Yeah,
we are.
because I'm thinking once the night is over, you'll have more information and you'll know what I mean by front running the
Okay.
next meeting.
Okay.
So maybe set up for January? Or,
Yeah, I think like we can look at setting it up for your January. If you want to, the key thing would be if you want to front end it or if you want to back end it. That's up to you guys. If you front end it, I don't know how early you can start. I mean, again, our normal time is 6:30. I would recommend probably 5:30.
Yeah, I think we should do it beforehand, because I think it gives it a time frame. I think.
and
it'll
it
be a
gives them
fresh
ending
view.
time because we
Yeah,
have to.
that's fine. Well, they're fresh, come here with fresh, clean.
And do know that once you are in the middle of these waters, it's a very complicated process. And the rules aren't all written yet. So But I do think that it's probably healthy for you guys to be thinking,
It would be a
In that
workshop,
direction.
correct? It would be a workshop.
Yeah,
It would not be a.
right?
It'll be
So we can
workshop,
set
it'll
up
be
a
the-
workshop from like 5:30 to 6:30 on that January.
6/20.
We gotta take a vote, it will be on your next agenda. For the January meeting, we'll probably have to move it to a Tuesday.
January, if we do it the first week, it would be the 3rd of January, Tuesday the 3rd.
Yeah, but you'll need to take an official vote. I'll have that on your next agenda for
Okay, so when
December.
So we wouldn't have it Monday, January second, anyway?
What's that?
We wouldn't have it Monday, January second.
January 2nd.
That's a
is
holiday.
Legal holiday.
Oh, because it's Monday, okay, yeah. All right, well then let's,
But we can plan for that workshop on Tuesday, the 3rd, from 5:30 to 6:30. We can
I'm-
certainly make that so, but in order to do it, I'll need a vote from the council.
Yeah. I make a motion that we set up a joint workshop with the planning board for January 3rd, 2023, from 5:30 to 6:30.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you very much.
it's in the calendar.
If that's all, we'll move on to town manager report.
Okay. So, in your packet was my TM updates. Number one, new town signs, new website, new logo. So, I've been kind of hemming and hawing for a long time now about updating our website. I have a proposal from a company that I'm interested in pursuing. And when I think of that, I was over at McDonald's, I don't know, a couple months ago. And driving back to the office after my lunch, I noticed the Mechanic Falls sign out there on Route 11. And it was looking a little lesser than. And I'm saying to myself, I don't know where the town is concerning, we really don't have like a good updated logo. Our letterhead is different than our website, Mechanic Falls cursive thing. So maybe as we take a look at painting the walls and changing the carpet and the curtains, maybe we do it all together. And if we do, what I envision doing would be to use ARPA dollars. And so I'm bringing this concept to you. And as Paula said, she and I have discussed bits and parts of this before privately. But I do think that having new updated signs to go along with a new website and a new logo kind of all fits in one marketing bucket. And if you want me to, just informally, if you say, no, Vic, don't, well, then I'll take it off my list. But if you want me to pursue the matter, I'll pursue it, and I'll probably have something on your December agenda to at least consider.
Tell me about how we can use opera dollars.
Yeah, so what we can do is we can use, because again, we have the $10 million loss provision through ARPA. And so our share of the balance of dollars that we have, no, we didn't get 10 million, we got around $354,000. Some of which has been spent, but there's a healthy balance. And I'll be bringing more ARPA information to you over the next few months because I am smithing out ideas. And one of the ideas that I've had right from the beginning is to use some of the ARPA dollars to upgrade our website. I like trying to do these one-off things that we can do with the ARPA dollars because it doesn't impact the citizens' budget. It doesn't impact the mill rate. It doesn't impact, these are just kind of one-off things.
Right, but your way of doing it is because it can be, the website is one of the things,
Yes.
one of the items, and if we're gonna
Right.
update the website, then they're gonna
Yeah.
do content, and so that's where we
Yeah.
create the content and put it.
Yeah,
Okay,
a
that-
lot of municipalities through the whole COVID thing have updated their websites and used ARPA dollars to do it.
Right.
thesis being it's about communicating, blah, blah, even though we're really on the back end. We still have the loss provision, which basically says anything that's a part of your normal government world, and this would be, you can use ARPA dollars for. So, it's a rabbit that I've been kind of looking at here and there. I have a proposal on my computer from a company. I get them to give us a 5th year of service for free. But instead of just bringing that to you tonight, I do think that it makes sense to think of this as some sort of collective. And what I would love from the council, from any citizen, is thoughts as to where the sign should go. We have a X number of signs. Do we want the same number in the same places? Do we want to add some signs? I mean, as I go out to get some quotes for signs, that would be a part of it. And a part of your packet, again, when Paula was in my office, on the Facebook page, I saw this. Paula thinks that this is the thing that she was talking about the school, coming up with a design.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it is or isn't. It's just on your Facebook photos, okay? So be it this, if you guys say, man, I absolutely love this, fine. I have reached out to somebody for a couple of $100, between $100 to $200 would give us a logo design, something totally brand new for your consideration. She said she would do, I think it's up to 5 changes if it's something that you want to chase. So again, I'm just bringing the concept to you. Unless I get a big no from you right now, I will proceed and over the next month, 2 or 3, bring it to you. Okay?
Do you want a motion on?
No, because I'm still just in the gathering stage. I'll gather some information and I'll bring it to you. And it may be in a couple of chapters. You know, the key thing is if we're going to do a new website and we're thinking about doing a new logo, this is the time before we actually have the website created, right? You know, so that carts and horses in the right place. It's just my wheels get spinning in that way. All right, next item, fuel pre-buy update. So I reached back out to Jay and he is not offering any programs of any kind. And in my conversation with him, he said most companies aren't. And he
Too up in
said,
the air.
what's
It's
that?
too up in the air for them to gamble on it. The price is too up in the air for them.
Yeah,
to gamble on
yes. Yeah, the world's too crazy. Yeah, yeah. And so, and if you heat with K1, he said, good luck. It's been very hard trying to get K1. I understand that some fuel companies are carting it in from Canada. There's somebody who uses K1. But I just wanted to update you because you guys did at the workshop bring that up as an item of consideration, and I did reach out. LED streetlight update. So as of October 14th, no. Yeah, October 14th. Sorry, having a
It's
brain.
already November.
October 14th seems like a long time ago. So I got an email thread going with Real-Term Energy. They said that as of October 14th, that they're still working with On Target to get those 2 installations done on the floodlight and the light on the bridge. I will tell you, I was here the other night for a meeting that didn't happen, but as I'm going home, I'm seeing the wonderful streetlights. And both streetlights on that bridge are working. So maybe,
Since then.
yeah, so maybe I'm gonna inquire I'm gonna tell them what I saw. and just inquire, maybe On Target did it and has not informed Realtor as of yet. So I will chase that down. Bottom line is, the project's just about done. And as soon as it's done, I've already sent off an email to Realtor about sitting down with CMP. And once they have that final sit down and go through the different lights and the wattages, then we're supposed to go to a different LED pricing tier with CMP, which will save us even more money. How's that for a long way around the barn?
Do you know if they'll allow us to do that if the ones in the parking lot are not LED? CMP.
No, if it's not LED, if it's not part of this project, it won't, I mean,
It'll only be the ones that we've counted. It has
Okay.
nothing to do with the permit.
Well, what I'm asking is CMP won't hold the fact that all of the town lights are not LED again.
just the ones that are inventory. And those aren't on the inventory. Cable contract update. So I'm in the middle of renegotiating our cable contract to bring to you. Pretty much we're in agreement on all the issues except for one issue. And I'm continuing to arm wrestle with them for the town's benefit. We'll see where it goes. But somewhere in the next month, 2 or 3, should be bringing you something to consider for an updated renewed cable contract. Okay. IT server update. I am hellbent that I'm going to save us money on IT. And right now, because I got the email off the server, we really don't have much on the server other than file storage. So I'm meeting with Advanced Microsystems mid next week to begin the process of getting rid of the server and taking our file storage to the cloud. Probably going deeper still with Microsoft 365. They have different plans. Once I have this meeting with Advanced Microsystems, at our next meeting, I'll update you a little bit more intelligently. But my major overriding goal is I believe I can get us into a situation where we can save several $1,000s a year. And we should be able to. More to come.
Keep saving them pennies, right? Keep saving them pennies.
Election day tomorrow, just a reminder to the world that the clerk's window will be closed tomorrow and everybody will be doing full effort on the election. November holidays include Veterans Day, and the office here will be closed at 12:30 Thursday afternoon and Friday morning. Also, we'll be closed in the month of November for the Thanksgiving holiday stretch beginning at noon on Wednesday, the 23rd of Turkey Week through Friday, the 25th, opening the following Monday. So just a heads up to all.
I think, polls open at 8, correct?
Yeah, 8 to 8, right?
Okay.
All right, that's it for TM updates.
There will be no old business. We'll move on to new business. 13.1, the building condemnation unit.
All right, I'm going to tee this up and I'm going to hand it off to Ryan.
Okay.
Who's going to tell you a lot of information.
Okay.
Okay, Ryan, you're up.
No comment.
Okay, so this letter here, I'm just gonna kind of summarize it through and read it a little bit. On September 2nd, so over 2 months ago, I had a tenant come to my office to complain about mold in their apartment. And this is about 9 North Main Street, near Mechanic Falls, and he invited me to the unit, which legally, the tenant or the landlord can invite me to the unit. So the tenant did let me in. I looked around and I noticed smoke detectors were missing or just not there, and definitely not up to code. And also there's black mold. The shower had been stuck on for over a month, and the landlord had not fixed it, causing mold in the apartment. So essentially that's what I came to, and I took pictures. And then I went outside. I had received a phone call from an adjoining property about the trash, and it was overflowing outside. Issues with the foundation, I noticed the foundation was cracked. A part where the bricks met together on a corner were peeling apart an inch or two. Another wall was kind of planted inward. And then I also noticed one of the means of egress, the steps were broken, which is very dangerous. Because you need two means of egress, and if you have a fire on the other side, you cannot get out, and this building has had fires before. So you can see the picture is being painted with no means of egress, and then you have black smoke detectors in a building that's had multiple fires. You can see the picture that's kind of being put together here. So since the first visit, I received information from 3 other units complaining about the living conditions. And in there, there's mold in other units. Another unit had leaking ceilings, multiple spots all throughout leaking. That was a ground level unit.
Is that the building with the tarp on it?
Yes, yes, correct. Large yellow building across from the gas station. Basically, these units are also getting worse. So for example, the leaking ceilings just started with a couple of leaks. And that tenant sent me another picture with the drywall from the ceiling actually coming off, like the entire piece of it coming off. And then also the mold got significantly worse. It was confined to maybe one ceiling tile worth, and it went into the entire kitchen, just black mold all over the ceiling. And these conditions just keep seeming to getting worse. And I've been on this. So what I've done so far is the next paragraph. So initially I called the property owner, gave a verbal warning and said, look, this needs to be fixed. Because at that point, I only seen 2 units. One of them was habitable, just had a couple of small issues. The other one was owing to mold. And I said, you have to fix all these. Later on, I heard from 2 others that have mold and other issues. So then I hadn't heard anything and nothing was fixed. So on September 15th, I delivered a letter noting the issues I found at the property, and I gave timeline to fix the issues. So I basically had 7 days to fix the mold, and then a couple other items, and then 30 days to get me a report from a structural engineer or building inspector saying the foundation and the structural integrity of the roof and some sagging floors I saw were okay. Or if not, basically, what the remediation is and you have to fix it to keep the tenants safe. Because we are coming up on winter. And if you have multiple leaking ceilings and now you're put ice and snow on it, that kind of is a recipe for disaster. I haven't received that. And it's been a month and a half, almost 2 months, and I gave a 30-day timeline. And other major issues have not been remediated. I do believe the trash was taken away. So that was remediated, but I have not inspected and I've not heard from any tenants other than things are getting worse. So to my knowledge, nothing else has been fixed. So I've done citations outlined in our land use ordinance, $50 for the first one, $100 for the second one, $200 for the third one. I've done all 3 of those. None of those have been paid. And then after the third one, you go to $100 a day, which they are accumulating right now daily. So I'm at the end of my citations. I can't do anything else. So right now I'm basically escalating this to the council because it's not within my power to just go in and start saying, you can't live here anymore, or you have to do this. I can't enter into, lawsuits. I can't do consent agreements. I can't do much. I mean, that's the way it's designed. So I contacted the town attorney and they told me to come here and ask you to hold a public hearing at least 3 weeks from now, so that we can have the sheriff deliver notices to all the tenants and the property owner, forming them on the meeting, right? So it has to be at least 3. It can be a special one. It can be at the next meeting. But it has to be at least 3 weeks. And on that day, I can present more information, such as pictures, and what actions the town are. Basically, you can tell me what you want to do. So that would be up to and including condemnation. So there's the extreme end of just condemning the entire building, and then there's others where that we can take other steps, other than just condemning the entire building, where we can maybe make a couple units temporarily uninhabitable till it's fixed. But really, I think a lot of that rides on the information we gain from now until that meeting, from the report from the engineer. I did talk to the property owner today. They said they were going to send me that report before this meeting, and I have not received it. So I actually don't know what it says or anything of that nature.
Do we know if there's really a report?
I don't know. I'm just told that. What I've kind of been hearing is they're trying to get a loan to fix it up, but I've been hearing that since I first started this. It's been a couple months, and I just keep hearing a couple more weeks type of thing, which I can't verify is true or not true. So that's basically what leads me to the council.
Okay, so you're asking for us to hold a public hearing so that you can present the case. This would.
Yeah,
think this
yeah.
would be a
According to
discussion.
Kristen
Yeah.
and Ryan, have been, both in, email thread and, on the phone with one another. I'll probably be with them sometime over the next few weeks on a next call. So, based on what Kristen had recommended, is that the council hold a hearing, a condemnation hearing. And so this goes to the front running of the next meeting. So I think you're gonna want a little bit of time for this. So, I definitely would we don't know if Kristen can be a part of this or not. But at the very least, for our stuff, if we did like a 6 PM public hearing on the, start our meeting, and then like tonight, quickly go to the public hearing. And Ryan can lay it out even more for you. We want to make sure that we do this properly.
Right, so we would need Kristen there? Are you saying we would need Kristen there at the meeting?
So.
Or what are we gonna be asked in, the public hearing is just so that it can be made known. We don't actually make any decisions, correct?
Yeah, from what I understand, yeah, you would. There is opportunity for consultation in executive session. I want to go that way.
Okay,
But I could also, my plan is really between now and then to get the options down and really know like exactly what the options are. And then kind of present that too. But yeah, we can't actually make any action tonight until we have the public hearing, which is what I'm asking.
And I'd really like to know the ramifications of those things that we do, because from my understanding, if we condemn something, then we're on, as a town, we're on, maybe I'm wrong, but from my understanding, we're on the hook. Is that not true? If we're displacing people out of a home, who's responsible for seeing those people go into a home? I believe the town would be.
I'm not an expert on this, but
That's why I would need her advice on this.
yeah, Kristen didn't allude to any of that sort of stuff.
I understand, but I've seen other towns do things like this. And they often are on the hook.
So
These are questions I need to.
So with Ryan's permission and your permission, I think the best course of action would be for us to try to arrange, if it works with your calendars, to have a 5:30 to 6 meeting in executive session with our attorney. So that way you can get a little scope on this.
Yep.
Ryan's gonna do his homework over the next few weeks. And between what Ryan can dig up for us on all sides of the issue in your consultation with the town attorney, that will give you a better footing for when you hold the hearing at 6 PM. And then you can hold the hearing, but it's my understanding through Ryan and through the thread I saw with Kristen, this council has the authority to condemn the building and or several of the apartments. So you have that authority, and we can also take it to court. Kristen, the initial thing was to do both at the same time, but I think there's some more chapters to be written, like if this report does materialize, that could greatly impact the situation.
right. I think meeting with our attorney first would be helpful because none of us have done this particular thing. And I have lots of questions too, because I don't want to be making any decisions with displacing people or any sort of accountability, who's responsible. I just want to know that. So I think the meeting with the lawyer prior to, once you've done your homework, and we come to the table with all of the information, and then we have the public hearing, at least it's presented, if we're gonna be making any decisions.
Yeah, and I think there may be something to what Daryl says, because I can remember one other time that this has happened in my 25 years living in town, where they actually went out to the other landlords in the area and found out who had apartments that were available and correlated what they did, the condemning, with the opening of those apartments, so those individuals could go, they weren't homeless, to make sure they weren't homeless.
It's also a different time right now. There's not many rents.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, so no, I think the whole point of this is just to find for the council to decide based on the advice we're taking what the best way to move forward is
Right.
without inconveniencing people, but also keeping their health
Right.
in mind too.
Especially since this is gonna be right before Christmas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's a double-sided sword. If you don't want to kick people out at the same time, depending on what that report says about the roof and structural integrity, it's a little bit worse for Christmas if, something happens to the building and there's no smoke detectors and there's a faulty foundation or a faulty roof and stuff like that. So I think I agree, more information probably has to be had before that decision is made. And I'm not saying condemning the entire thing is the way to go, but it's just, we can do anything between nothing and that, right? So there's a bunch of steps in between that Kristen kind of offered to me.
So do you need a motion then for anything?
Yeah, so we'll need a motion from you to schedule the public hearing
Okay.
at your December 5th meeting, I believe it's December 5th, at 6 P.M.
I thought you said.
Well, we're gonna do,
5:30.
we're gonna do an executive session at 5:30 with the lawyer, right?
Yeah, and again, we haven't reached out to Kristen on that. We
Yeah.
will do everything to try in our power to tee it up.
Okay.
And we'll meet in my office and do the drill.
But
And,
we can just set that, because the hearing at 6 PM is what.
yeah,
we
you
have
need to, yeah.
I make a motion that we, start our next meeting at 5:30 on December 5th. In order to be able to go into an executive session prior to it. And that we also, at that December 5th meeting, have a public hearing in regards to 9 North Street and the avenue in which is best to be taken.
That's 9 North Main Street, 9 North Main Street.
That's what I thought. I said 9 North Main Street.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, 13.2, Deerfield, Federal Credit Union, CD authorization for town manager and fire department.
Finance director.
Oh, finance director. Oh, yeah.
So not only do we sit around here trying to figure out ways of saving money, we try to figure out ways of earning more money. And so it's not shocking to know that the last several months with the moves of the Fed, that interest rates are starting to go north again, which is a good thing. And so we've had a lot of low rate bearing CDs. And I'm starting to play the CD rate game. And so this story actually, we had 2 that were rolled over from Androscoggin Bank, rolled into our checking account because we were going to get some CDs from Dirigo. Dirigo said that in order to do that, what I needed is to have a council motion to give permission to the town manager and the finance director to purchase CDs on the town's behalf.
Do
And
we have
so,
a total?
what's that?
What, do we have a specific amount we have to do it for?
Well, what I wanted is, so for the motion, assuming you're gonna make one, I'd like just for it to be open-ended, no money involved. Because who knows when we're gonna do it in the future. To answer your question, we actually had 2, one was for 50-something thousand and the other was for like $12,000 or $14,000. And as Paul Harvey would say, here's the rest of the story. The rest of the story is that at the last second last week, Androscoggin came back with increased rates that actually met and slightly exceeded Dirigo. So we're going to stay with those particular numbers. We're going to stay and have them redone with Androscoggin. But since this topic is on your agenda for future notice, in case we get better rates down the road from Dirigo, I would love the flexibility and the authority to go ahead and, on the town's behalf, make it so.
How many CDs does the town actually hold right now, Mr. Hodgkins?
A few, a handful. We have CDs in different amounts with different, I don't have an accounting here for you, But we do have,
I'm assuming they're probably quite staggered.
yeah, I didn't bring any analysis like that tonight. I just want the ability to, as they roll off, if I got a more attractive rate with Dirigo, for you guys to give us permission to go ahead and chase the more attractive rate.
Okay, so that's what you want the motion to say, that
Yeah,
the town
to-
manager has the authorization.
I so move.
And the finance
I
director.
know you know how to do
You want to put that nice and eloquently? Okay. So I'll second the motion that Daryl just made. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, 13.3, move the balance of the summer rec reserve to municipal complex fund.
So this is a housekeeping thing, so you all in your packet have a sheet that looks something like this. And so, several months ago, when I brought a handful of housekeeping items to you, pretty much you guys tabled it. And so what I thought I would do is just start with the simplest one. Because right now we have essentially a defunct account that's called summer recreation that has $266.74 in it. And what I'd like to do is to save Lisa a little paperwork, because she has to reconcile a bank statement every month for $266.74. I'd like to have the permission to the town council to move those dollars to the municipal complex fund and drop that summer recreation account.
Can I ask a silly question?
Sure.
Why would we put it into the municipal complex fund and just not into the recreation fund?
You can put it anywhere you want to put it. I suggest the municipal complex fund because I know that we're going to be having some expenses and this is just loose change essentially. And it just seems like a good place to have it. But you guys can do what you
Summer
want.
rec, not the revenue department, it was a summer camp.
Before and after, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So moved, Jim. Got that?
I'll second it. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, set a workshop date. This is
So at
for our
the
next-
conclusion of your last workshop, you said we ought to be setting another workshop date. I think probably items would include the report that you recently received from it. And, discussing that and other matters.
Do we want to move it up to January? Any ideas, any dates you want to throw out there?
Well, if we wanted to do it this year, like Turkey Day is early. Like if you look at the calendar,
Mhm.
like the next week, you have 3 days in November. That really aren't holiday days, they're just a regular week. But I don't know if we want to do that, I mean, the next week will be coming for the regular meeting, but. If we wanted to do it earlier than the end of the year, then I would think that would be the one of those 3 days would be,
And we're going the last weekend in November?
yeah, the last week of November, 28th, 29th,
Okay.
30th. So I'd prefer not the 30th personally. 28th to 29th.
Monday night, the 28th.
I don't know what everybody else is thinking. What do you- If we wanted to do it this year, I think that would be the best, because it keeps us out of December, because December is hard for everybody with family and Christmas.
I can go with the 28th.
It works for me. Mondays are good, because I usually set them back.
Downtown.
and set it early. Last
Yeah.
time you did 6?
Yeah, I think 6
Yeah.
weeks.
6?
6 works. 6 p.m. on November 28th.
And you'll need a motion and a vote.
Make that motion.
I make a motion that we hold a workshop on November 28th at 6 P.M. as council.
She didn't like my motion.
I know that.
I
Just
didn't
after I
hear that.
started writing.
Second, then right in.
That's it. I'll let them.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Excellent.
Okay, so accept the ACEMA grant for fire station of $9,810.
Yeah, good news. So I'm trying to get us into the habit of even if I'm going to run it a little after the fact, you, as a council, you really should be accepting gifts for the town. You should take a vote to accept a gift. And so, where you meet monthly, sometimes, the timing isn't perfect. So, the Androscoggin County Emergency Management Agency has graciously given the town of Mechanic Falls through the fire station a grant of $9,810. And I'd like for you guys to do the pomp and circumstance of accepting it and by a vote.
Yeah, is this, what was this for? Just, is it
So
for something?
if Fred was here, he could tell you in great detail. There is a purpose for this. It's fire equipment. I honestly, he told me, I don't remember, but it is for specific fire equipment. As a matter of fact, I've already been shopping.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I'd entertain a motion to accept the grant. The fire station.
Better accept, it's already shot.
Yeah.
I make that motion.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Maine State Community Resilience Partnership.
Oh, boy.
This is a good one.
So, Paula, Ryan, and myself went to the annual planning day for APCOG a week or two ago at All Borders. And as a part of the day's festivities, there was a speaker who was talking about the Community Resilience Partnership grants from the state of Maine. And I sent you all the paperwork on all of that. And I'll try to keep it to the bumper sticker version. So the bumper sticker version would say to you, if you're willing to jump as a town, if you're willing to jump through a whole bunch of hoops, have a whole bunch of meetings, put together a whole lot of paperwork, you can get from the state of Maine through this program up to $50,000 for, in our case, I'm sure it would more likely than not be some sort of renovations to one of our buildings. Energy codes, again, all the minutia I gave to you guys. You can feel free to pop some corn and read it at your pleasure. But so the reason why it's on your agenda tonight is you have to accept a resolution. You have to, like I said, there'd be a whole lot of work, but for the $50,000, we can do it. The deadlines for 2023, I believe she said were March and September. I don't think we can be ready for March, but I think we could be ready probably for September 2023 for consideration of the grant.
So we would have to decide what it is we want and then move forward that way. Or they have parameters. for what you do.
So basically it would begin with the council accepting, creating and accepting a resolution for this. They have sample boilerplate copy in here for that resolution. I would encourage you all to really kind of bear up and go through the information. Some of it's a little monotonous, but the bulk of the work will fall on staff. Because there's a whole process. We'll have to have community meetings. We'll have to go through prioritizing lists. There will be all sorts of stuff. If you, the reason why I brought it to you tonight is to introduce the subject and to get a feel from you if this is something you would like to continue to chase. If so, I'll make sure it's on your December agenda and we can begin with the, I can create a version of the resolution and then I can kick off the whole thing. Or you can say to me tonight, Vic, thanks, but no thanks.
And one of the things that caught my eye was is that they would give us $50,000 to execute energy efficiency and weatherization of a building, of the municipal building or the fire station or public works.
You sent us that information, right? It was from
Yep.
you. I just can't find it in my emails. I remember going, looking at it and thinking it was a lot of.
There's all of this grant stuff is always that way, right? You know? The good news is part of the minutia of what they want. Chief Goss, along with Fire Chief Sturdivant, Public Works Director Scott Penny, and yours truly, have been working on some minutia stuff for Androscoggin County Emergency Management Agency for local, state, and feds, and that will play into this as well. So.
Okay, so do we need to do this? Do we need to do anything tonight? You're just
No,
telling us. tonight.
no, you
This is
can,
something we could talk about on our work.
yeah, you
to
can,
vote
yeah.
What
yeah.
route we may take.
I'm just looking for a tea leaf reading. I don't need a vote. Yeah, you know, if it's something you don't want to chase, please tell me. If it's something that you think you do want to chase, then I'll at least tee it up for the December agenda.
Okay, well, yeah.
How much staff time would that?
How much, what time?
Staff time.
Staff time? Well, quite a bit, but that's to be expected. I think the people there talked about, they give you a bunch of deadlines and some of the deadlines were kind of hard to meet, but the other towns, they had 2 or 3 towns there that talked about the process and that they were able to meet them and all of that stuff.
And the other thing is that once we get through this first hurdle, then it opens up a plethora of other opportunities that they in turn will then come upside us and they'll do a majority of the work for the additional grants.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. So we do all the hard work up front and it can lead to better things down the road.
So you're telling me that this is something that you realize it would take staff time and it's gonna, well, a lot of it's gonna fall on your plate. But
Yeah,
but it's
I
worth,
know,
but it's worth it. But you feel like it's worth
we're here to serve you.
it. The town will benefit from this. The
Yeah,
original 50,000 and potentially more.
yeah, it's gonna be a pain in the butt, not gonna lie to you, but
But you think it'll be beneficial.
Yeah.
The benefits are gonna outweigh the costs.
I mean, if you guys decide to stay in this building, there's $50,000 that could go towards renovating.
And potentially more after that first one.
I mean, my feeling is if you don't think it's gonna overburden the staff to the point where they're at the breaking point. I mean, it's gonna add more work to their plate, right? So there's no doubt about it, but like, I mean, I wouldn't want it to be like we lose all our staff because they're running after $50,000, you know what I mean? Like,
It's,
Well, and also if you don't make a deadline. you can-
anytime you chase this grant stuff. I
so
mean,
I know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and, I mean, I hear you. I thank you for the thought process.
Well, no, I mean, I feel like if you say that you think it's worth it, then it's worth it.
Well, it's $50,000.
No, I
I mean, how do
agree.
I sit here and tell you to look,
Yeah.
look, I'm trying to tell you that, hey, I'm looking to save money, I'm looking to get better CD rates. How do I turn a blind eye to 50K?
And that's just the beginning. The other towns told us that was just the beginning.
So do you need a motion or you just wanna?
No, I just want a tea leaf reading. The motions will come
Okay.
over the next few months.
Well, I mean, if you, yeah, so you're saying you'll also give us more information next month about some time.
Yeah,
Some
I'll-
deadlines.
I'll tee up the resolution and in the next, between now and then, if you guys could take a look at it. Because you may, after you go through it, say, oh my gosh, no, I don't agree with this. I don't know. Okay, thank you.
13.7, Chief Goss third-party grant or outside detail pay at 1.5 times pay. That's something you want to speak on?
You want, since you're here, you want to do it?
Sure. So basically, we have grants that come from the state of Maine, actually technically they're federal grants, but it's through the Bureau of Highway Safety. And what they do is they pay 100% of the officers to go out, that's the ones you hear, the click it or ticket. We call them seatbelt details, speed details, where you go run radar on your problem roads, where your crashes are. Things like that. They have some OUI details, these different grants, where they pay 100% of the salary at time and a half for the officers to go out and do it. Problem is we get so many hours and the officers don't always want to work all of those hours. In order for me to be able to work it, in the past, it was never an issue, but the last 2 or 3 years, they've said because I'm designated salary, that I have to have a special ruling from you guys or from the town manager, they preferred the council, to allow me to get paid time and a half for those details. Because the guys don't want to go out, a lot of the nighttime ones, the guys want to work their regular shift, they don't want to do 4 hours of that detail. And a lot of times to use up those hours, I would go out and do them. In the past, we had some where just guys left, or guys just, when it came time to do them, they just flat out didn't want to do them. So the sergeant, past sergeants, and I would go out and do them to use up the hours. But now they've cited something that they have to have a special designation saying that you guys would allow me to be paid time and a half to do these details.
And it would be coming from grant money,
It's coming from grant money.
and you just need something from them.
It needs something in writing that I can send to them that somebody above my power has said that, no, that's okay. You can be paid time and a half to do these details.
So I make a motion that we, pay, time and a half for outside detail pay
And
So
grants,
and grant.
Is it you and the sergeant or just you?
it's just me because I'm the only one designated salary.
Did you get that, Jim?
I second that motion.
Any discussion?
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
13.8, plow truck increase.
As we used to say in sales, I'm gonna take you and then take you down to bring you back up. So we got a notice, it's in your packet, the other day, from the company that had the winning bid for our upcoming plow truck, which we were supposed to get in 2023 and has been delayed until 2024. Welcome to post-COVID 21st century. And we got a notice saying that there was going to be an extra fee, a pricing surcharge to the vehicle because it's going to be a 24. The extra fee would be $5,250. And I came here tonight to ask the council to approve the additional spending on the plow truck of $5,250. And then this afternoon, the sun is shining, it's a beautiful afternoon, and I get an email. Scott gets an email and forwards it to me. Says, Scott, with some arguing and fighting, all of our rolled over trucks that we were told were going to be affected by the 2024 model surcharge are price protected. So there is no additional surcharge.
Thank God.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
moving on.
Yeah.
Just like that, we figured that's $200. Perfect.
Moving on to the RC16 school board letter.
All right, little story. So, when, I think you need the full story as I understand it to be. So when I first got here and I went to first meet with, the school superintendent, Ken Healy, and Amy, we had a discussion because it was just brought up that the school district last year was going to look at what I call front running the system, and instead of having the traditional May district meeting and the June town vote on the school budget, that they wanted to front run it. Well, Matt Garside, Danielle Loring, and myself kind of poo-hooed all of that to the powers that be, and they decided to give in because of the quagmire of absentee ballots crossing multiple elections, and it would be a nightmare. And so they acquiesced. This year, it's my understanding the school administration took to their committee the budget schedule for the upcoming cycle that we're entering for FY24, and got the committee to approve the upcoming schedule, which then went to the school board for a vote. And it's my understanding, I didn't realize that it had actually already been voted on by the school board until just the other day, but apparently the school board has taken a vote to allow for as I understand it, to be a March district meeting, a budget district meeting instead of May, and an April vote for the towns to undertake. State statute allows the RSUs, the school districts, to do this. So the question of whether or not the school district can do this is not in question. They have the authority and the wherewithal to do what they're looking to do. For the towns of Poland, Mechanic Falls, and Minot, it creates, unfortunately, undue hardships because we have limited election personnel, and using the town of Mechanic Falls as the model, I have in your packet a letter, and I'll read it aloud. And then I'm going to, at the end of, if you have any questions, we'll go back and forth. And I think where we have a school board member, if she's wanting to comment on this, maybe give her an opportunity to comment. But eyes wide open, as I always say. And it's not with animosity, it's hate. You know, we're all to me, we're all in this together. We're one big family. Family don't always agree. So it isn't like we're throwing darts at each other, but at the same point in time, it is a real issue for our town and for the other towns. It creates undue hardship. And so the managers have been in multiple threads with one another. And this letter found its way to the Poland Select Board meeting a week ago, and they voted to sign it and to send it to the superintendent and to the school board. And so where we're meeting tonight, I'm teeing this up for you for consideration. If you would like to take a vote and to sign the paperwork, I will go ahead and forward it to the superintendent and to the school board as well. The letter goes like this. Dear school board, it is the understanding of the Mechanic Falls Town Council that the upcoming budget season schedule may be altered to include a March 23 district budget meeting followed by an April town vote for the FY24 school budget. While we respect the statutory right of the school board to alter the traditional schedule in this way, we would ask that the school board not take this action, leaving in place the traditional school budget schedule ending with a June vote. Our reasoning includes many factors, all of which would create a negative impact on the town of Mechanic Falls. Currently, on election Tuesday in June, the citizens decide on the town budget as well as the school budget. One election gets the job done. With the proposed changes, this would mean holding 2 elections, not 1. Holding 2 separate elections creates staffing issues and extra costs for the town. Administering an election is a complex and involved task. In addition to warrant requirements, other tasks include ballot preparation, recruitment, and training of election workers, accounting for and tracking all absentee ballots, ensuring voter rolls are up to date, processing new and amended voter registrations, conducting the actual election, and finally tabulating the results. Each of these tasks has its own unique and special set of requirements. A good example is the recruitment and training of election workers. We can't just hire anybody to work elections. There must be a balance between the various political parties. This requirement makes it challenging to fully staff our election team. And while some of the fiscal costs of an election are borne by RSU 16 ballots, none of the administrative effort or other costs are accounted for in this process. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration, the Mechanic Falls Town Council.
I make a motion that we sign this and we have Mr. Hodgkins forward it on our behalf.
I second the motion. Any discussion?
I feel like we can at least ask that they not take action, because it will be two separate. So they're talking April, so like April 12th or something, and then we'll have another one on June 12th. 2 months later, we would have another election.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last part.
So we would have like, if, say, they made it April 12th, we would vote on the school budget, and then on June 12th, we would vote
Right.
on the
Yeah.
town budget.
Right.
So the chances of people coming to one or vote is also less likely, because they're not gonna come up. People don't even remember to come vote, unfortunately. Okay, hold on. Any further discussion?
Ask, do you want to talk about it?
Sure.
Is that a?
We welcome your
okay?
opinion.
Yeah,
I didn't know if I was allowed to talk.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so. Deb Smith, 13 Perkins Road. The school board already voted on this at our October 3rd meeting to set the schedule for the spring. So as of right now, the budget will be brought to the school board on March 13th. That's our regular meeting for March to vote. The district budget meeting will be on Tuesday, March 21st. We did do a survey because we had talked last year about changing when the meeting was from a weeknight to a weekend morning, weekend afternoon. And the overwhelming response is to keep it on a weeknight, so the budget meeting will still be on a weeknight. And then the budget referendum is currently scheduled for April 11th. And one of the driving factors of the schedule, which I don't believe we normally have one vote. I know last year we did, but in the past, they were not always scheduled on the same date. The school budget was sometimes on its own schedule. But one of the problems we had this year was hiring staff. Hiring is a challenge for any business. The schools are having a really hard time getting enough teachers to fill our positions for the school year. We almost didn't have enough classroom teachers, and we were looking at alternative arrangements to run the schools. So hiring, if we can have any advantage to having those positions available to hire, that's what the schedule is so important to us.
But it's just not easy, like throwing out a sign and printing off ballot. Did the educational board even take that into consideration?
well, I mean, I certainly understand where they're coming from on that aspect, but it would only, I mean, I'm asking this because I have somewhat information, that we both have wives that work in the education field. But that would only be new positions that you would have to worry about filling. I mean, if you know, like you have so many teachers that you're already, like, it's already budgeted from the year before, correct? It would only be like if a new position is open that you would need to know whether or not you would have the funds available for that, correct? Like say, if you decided you're gonna have a new resource room teacher or whatever it may be, and it's a new position, that would be one that you didn't have before that you would like to add this year from whatever it might be, a grant money or whatever it might be. But like typically you already know, if you already know how many positions, you're just gotta, like, if somebody leaves, then you have to refill that position. So it's not new budgeted money for that, correct? I know, but I mean, it's not like it's, you're not talking like tremendous amount. I understand where you're coming from. Trust me, I do. But it does put quite a hardship on the town. So it's frustrating because it's like everything else, like we have to deal with things that are out of our control somewhat. And I personally, even though I empathize with you, I feel like this letter is something that we can't make them change their mind,
Well, we can ask.
but we can ask them to. So I feel like we should.
And so if you vote for this letter, to sign this letter, I'll have you sign
Right.
it. And I'll send it out in the morning. And I will attend the school board meeting next Monday night. And you should also know, just as background information, that I did send a version of this to all the Mechanic Falls school board members. Again, eyes wide open, right? And it wasn't until I got the reply back from Mary Martin that I realized that you guys had already voted.
When did you send that last week?
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
so-
so that's a couple weeks after.
And again, I mean, I recognize that you've already set the date, but at the same time, it could be changed if you wanted.
Yeah, they could reconsider.
If you, I think that's what we're asking, to at least reconsider it. I know that you don't have.
Is there a dollar amount you'd like me to bring back to share? Like, what is the cost to the town to run this election on the 11th of April? So they have a
Right.
perspective.
So there's the monetary, and then there's the unknown.
Like
She's
how much,
our elections clerk,
Right.
right? And so she is going to have to put on a whole separate election. And I can't, I mean, she can talk more intelligently about it than I can, but obviously, we're going to, it's also a period of time where we're gonna be putting together town reports. There's other functions going on. People are gonna be paying their May taxes, which creates a very busy shop out front here. And so there's a lot to this. And with all due respect, and I'm having breakfast with Ken and Amy and Stacy on Wednesday, and I will share this with them then. And reflecting about it myself, I know in the past, lots of school districts have put out help wanted ads for anticipated openings. So to me, it's like, while true that you want to, my words, front run the system, so that way you can get your help wanted out there for the new positions. But you could also still do that simply by doing anticipated openings. And not put the hardship onto the towns. And the fact that all three towns and all three managers, and hopefully all three councils are on the same page with this. Hopefully the school board will really seriously think about reconsidering this. So,
Because it'll mean not only June 8th, the front being shut down, but it'll mean another day that our residents will not have access to our town clerk because she'll have to shut the front down. Then you have to make sure that 3 of each party, 2 of each party are available to be your vote people downstairs. And you're required to keep it open a minimum of 6 or 8 hours at least. For school elections, I think it doesn't have to be, it's still 8 to 8. So you're talking, that amount of time, and we will be forced to pay for the overtime to the town clerk, the deputy clerk, on top of that. So it's a lot of out of pocket at a time that we really don't have the out of pocket.
I think personally, for me, it's the amount of work, the added work. that
Yes.
brings More than, yes, ultimately, in the amount of money of taxes that the money, yes, it is out of pocket, but when you figure the school budget and you figure our budget, that amount of money is not tremendous. It's the resources that we will lose with their time that concerns me the most.
Well, right, and it's just, if we're gonna be doing the same exact thing. 2
Right,
months later.
2 months.
So it's,
Right, it's,
I understand where the school's coming from. I also just see the burden that we.
And that's the other thing is we're required to have absentee ballots. And there's a chance that the absentee ballots from one will overrun with the other, which is going to put an even bigger burden on our election clerk because she'll have to be very careful not to get the 2 mixed up. mixed up to each other. It's gonna be a nightmare. And in my opinion, an unacceptable nightmare.
Thank you.
I appreciate, I mean, I know you're sitting in an awful situation right now, and I
I
appreciate
know.
you willing to stand up there, because it's not good, but it's like, I understand, like. So, and we do thank you for all you do too. I'm sure it feels like we're ganging up, on you. It's not intentional.
Thank you.
Normally Mary Martin comes and takes the.
She's away.
So I need.
Okay, so we just, where were we at? Did we didn't take a vote yet? We just.
So we haven't voted, we motioned.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
You have the original?
Yeah, and I already shared this story with Sonny where he's not here tonight, so he signed it.
I make a motion that we go into executive order under 1 MRSA 4056A personal matters.
Second that motion? Any discussion? Should be noted that we will be, when we come out of this, we'll be adjourning.
Right, no decision.
No decision will be made and we'll be adjourning directly after. All those in favor?
Save some money. Have to eat. Probably else it's been fun, really, but anyway, I would work for it.
I was thinking it was really fun. But when I saw Janet throwing up sleeves.
It definitely got warm in here, okay?
We did.
This the very last page.
We were like, they want to. That whole, she's looking June. They want to do it with a vote.
Right.
Oh,